Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me in this live section. Guys, if you're new to this channel, do well to hit that subscribe button and like and share this video also. So Peter Obi, the Labour Party's presidential candidate, the election that was conducted on 2023, Peter Obi, the former Labour Party 2023 presidential candidate, he has reacted to the fact that Tinubu's government wants to increase the salaries of political office holders at a time when millions of ordinary Nigerians are drowning in poverty, hunger, and hopelessness, guys. Peter Obi, the Labour Party's 2023 presidential candidate, has claimed this move or as insensitive and unjustifiable. And in this video, we're going to break down everything so that you understand why Obi is angry. Because I don't understand why Nigerians are suffering hunger and everything, and then they still want to increase. It's not like these politicians are not living well. They're actually living well. They have luxury houses. They have houses in different parts of the country, and then they still want to increase their salary. Look at the minimum wage; is useless. Even Trump has said that the minimum wage of 70,000 naira is useless because of naira devaluation. And then there's a proposal, to increase the salaries of political office holders at a time when millions of ordinary Nigerians are drowning in poverty, in hunger, and hopelessness. Peter B has reacted to that. Guys, stay tuned. I have a lot to share with you guys. Now, let's start with the issue at hand. Reports have emerged that Nigerian Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission is considering a pay rise for political office holders. This includes the president, the vice president, ministers, governors, senators, House of Representative members, and other top government officials, guys. Now let's pause and think for a moment. Nigeria is currently battling one of the worst economic crises in recent history, guys. Nigeria is currently battling one of the most worst economic crises in recent history. Inflation is above 30%. Food inflation nearing 40%. The naira at record lows, guys, and poverty is deepening with over 133 million Nigerians living in multidimensional poverty. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, that was a report by the National Bureau of Statistics. Yet, in the middle of all these things, amid all these things, the Nigerian political elites, they believe the solution is to increase the already outrageous salary and allowances of office stakeholders in this country. Guys, these politicians, they earn millions in a month without doing anything, no. Because I don't see why they are there, and they're not doing anything that's so wrong. Because I don't see why they are there, and then people are still hungry. People are shouting because of insecurity. People are buying every time, and they are still there, and they are thinking of increasing salaries. So what have they done for them to increase their salary? Peter Obi did not just mean what he described the proposal as insensitive and unjustifiable. According to him, this is nothing but elite insensitive to the suffering of ordinary Nigerians. How can leaders who preside over a collapsing economy, who have failed to provide basic infrastructure, job opportunities, or food security, have the audacity to demand a pay rise? How can all these things, they have failed to do their duties in this country? They have failed to provide basic infrastructure. They have failed to provide job and opportunity. They have failed in food security, guys. They still have the audacity to demand a pay rise. This is actually bad. Obi argues that the political class in Nigeria is already overpaid. The political class in Nigeria, they're already overpaid. The money they pack at the end of the month is so high, it's too much compared to the suffering majority. The money politicians, both ministers, presidents, House of Representatives, the money they pack every month, the money they go home with every month is already too much. Obi argues that the political class in Nigeria is already overpaid compared to the suffering majority. He has always maintained that leaders should cut down the cost of governance, not inflate it. So we're talking about the salaries they give these politicians is too much, despite the hunger going on in this country, and they still have the audacity to, demand for an increase. Now let's come down to the minimum wage. Guys, we actually begged. I know how many times was the Labour Congress, I know how many times they went, to have meeting with the president just to increase minimum wage from 30,000. I think they proposed about 200,000, and later they came down to 100,000. Guys, Tinubu did not allow. They did not allow 200,000. They did not allow 100,000. But guys, the letter ended up allowing 70,000 naira. And for them, they'll be like, oh, they have tried. But what is 70,000 naira when naira has devaluated? Even Trump has said it. 70,000 naira minimum wage is useless because of the naira devaluation. Now, let's contrast this with the plight of ordinary Nigerians. The government recently signed into law a new minimum wage of 70,000 naira on paper. This look like progress, but in reality, it is not. Why? Because the same government that announced 70,000 naira as minimum wage has destroyed the value of naira through devaluation. The result is, 70,000 naira today is worth less than 30,000 naira was just a few years ago. Let me tell you something. Just like if something you bought with 30,000 naira as at how many years ago, you cannot buy it with 70,000 naira today. That is how naira has devaluated. That is how they have made naira so useless. A bag of rice now costs nearly 90,000 naira. A bag of rice. How much are they getting at the end of the month? It's not even up to your salary, so it's more than it. A petrol of fuel is above 1,000. Transportation, electricity, school fees, and healthcare have all skyrocketed. Guys, it is at maximum. So what exactly does 70,000 naira minimum wage achieve? Nothing. It's already useless even before the first salary is paid. Before you even collect the 70,000 naira, it has already gone. You see, at the ending of the month, people will borrow from here. Debts. People will be indebted, guys. When workers strike, government says Nigeria is broke. When politicians demand luxury government, they say find a way. Now, let me just play this video for you guys to see what this people said. They argued about poverty in this country, when people go on with 70,000 naira, before you even collect that money, it has already gone. You still have a lot to pay because you already borrowed so many people, and then you're left with nothing. This is why there is poverty, and I think the government is deliberately keeping. Now, I want to ask you guys: you think the government is deliberately keeping people poor so that they can be under them? Do you think that they're deliberately keeping people poor? Because the amount of millions these politicians pack, the amounts they pack, is too much amid hunger and insecurity in this country. Now take a look at this video. They argued about this increment of the salaries of these politicians. Take a look, guys.
Well, joining us now to provide in-depth analysis of the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission's move to review salaries of political office holders in Nigeria is Professor Franklin Ungo. He's the Director of Public Sector Initiative, Lagos Business School, but he's joined also by Emeka Ejikonye. He's a management consultant and public budgeting expert. Thank you both, gentlemen, for joining us on the news tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Well, let me begin with you, Professor Ungo. Will it be misleading to look at only the basic salaries of our political office holders and not look at the perks of office, such as aids, housing, cars, security details, and all of that. What do you make of this conversation?
I think it's important to look at it in totality, considering not just the basic salary, but also, as you said, housing, travel allowance, medical, all that, so that we'll be able to have a proper picture of the total remuneration that goes to public office holders like the president, the ministers, as the case may be. But of course, just looking at the basic salary, some people will now say, okay, is it the right thing to do? In terms of looking at it in terms of the value, the amount, somebody will say 1.something million is too small for the president. 1 million is too small for the minister. However, when you also consider that with the devaluation of Naira, 70,000 as the minimum wage is not even being paid across Nigeria, and what's the value, and also the salaries of other civil servants, you begin to question, is it the right thing to do now? And also, the government has been seen as being a bit, would I say, not very prudent in terms of the way they have been expanding recruitment, appointment, 40-something ministers, and all that. So but someone will say that we are not really showing or signaling that things are difficult in Nigeria, that poverty is high, inflation is high, unemployment is increasing. So with all these issues, now just bringing out raising the salaries of president and public office holders might be considered as a bit not very sensitive to the issues in Nigeria.
Let me bring in Emeka Ejinkoye. He's a management consultant and public budgeting expert. Thank you very much for joining us. I mean, for the optics, what does it look like to you in terms of timing and sensitivity, like Mr. Ngu has said? Is this what RAMFAC really should be looking at, raising the salaries of president from, well, they're saying 1.5 million now is a joke, and paying a minister less than 1 million a month is also comedy. What do you say to this, development?
Thank you very much for having me. And again, taking the cue from the prof over there, I do agree somehow with the chairman of the Revenue Mobilization Commission, somehow, to the extent that you don't just, yes, the salary of the president, if it is 1.5 million, is abysmal. But the question I ask myself is, how much is a professor in the university also earning? Why should the president of the country or the minister be earning more than a professor in the university? These are questions that have been agitating my mind. Who is making more who is being more productive between the professor in the university and the minister or the legislator or the president? In fact, the president himself, who is making more input to the growth, to our social development? So for me, it should be a holistic thing. Salaries in Nigeria is very, very appalling. Unfortunately, the chairman of the commission was very tactical in saying that his purview is basically for government, not for everybody. So when labor is agitating, labor is agitating for the workers. And I'm saying, why should the workers be paid only? In fact, when you say 70,000 naira minimum wage, for me, it is still very, very abysmal. When they were negotiating, I think Labour was talking about 500,000 naira. They dropped it to 250. In fact, I thought the government was going to agree to 250,000 naira minimum wage. So looking at it from a very general perspective, very holistically, I think it's appalling. But unfortunately, just as the prof said too, the problem of corruption, the problem of bad governance has made it such that it seems as if we don't seem to have the money. But if we can plug the leakages, I can bet you, if we can plug the leakages from which our money leaks, from our commonwealth leaks, rather than being used for public use, leaks into private pockets, so that you have a few, just like one of the politicians says about, is it about 200,000 naira politicians are the ones holding this country down. And these are the people who want to increase their salaries now. So for me, the issue is, are they really, in fact, are the politicians agitating? Are they complaining about their salary? They are not. The people that are complaining are the downtrodden, the civil servants, the bureaucrats. I don't want to, if you use civil servants now, somebody will confuse it for just those in the ministries and not every other person. So, for me, It's a general thing. We need a general increase in salaries. We need across the board. It's not just for the government officials only. When I say government, I mean members of the legislature and the executive, as the chairman said, and the DGs. But we must think also about the public servants. That is for me as an opener for now. It should be a general thing. But then, of course, I strongly believe that if we can plug the leakages, if we can prevent corruption, unfortunately, unfortunately we have not been able to fight corruption sincerely, with all honesty.
All right. You make a valid point. They are not complaining, because I'm thinking, Professor Ungo, if the pay is so poor as Ramfac tells us, and it's a joke, why do many people fall over themselves every election cycle to fill the vacancy? We see people jostling to become presidents, governors, public office holders, but we are told that their pay is small. So I'm thinking, as a Nigerian, what is it that attracts them if the salary is so poor? But let me ask you, the last salary review, we are told, was 17 years ago in 2008. So objectively, is there a case there? Last minimum wage for civil servants for labor, beg your pardon, was 2023. So when you look at that and you juxtapose, do they have a valid point as Ramfac to say 17 years is a long time?
They have a case, no doubt about it. But as we are saying, it's not something you should be treated in isolation. So because we live in an interconnected society, this is about Nigeria. So if we're able to do certain things right, this idea of it's been 17 years, it's been last year, shouldn't even come to the discussion. But there has to be a systematic way of reviewing wages, increasing wages, taking note of inflation, productivity, revenue generation, and all that. So in terms of the value of the money, it's too small. In terms of the duration, it's been long. But of course, we cannot isolate it from the Nigerian economy to say we have to review this. So it's also time that we think deeply. Sometimes I begin to wonder that we are not really thinking deeply about Nigeria. Rather, what we are now doing is more of reactive governance. So police will shout and shout, our salaries is low. We say, okay, increase it small. Medical doctors will give 1 week strike and say, we're going to go on strike. We say, increase it small. Labor union will say, okay, we're going on strike. Let's give them 70,000 naira minimum wage. And now politicians are saying, oh, maybe increase or maybe they're not shouting, but maybe they're complaining privately to
maybe it will improve their productivity.
So it's not something you do in isolation. It's something that you need to do in a very comprehensive assessment of the economy, the revenue, cost of governance, and all that to say, okay, what do we do differently?
Emeka Jinkoye, I mean, there are other issues we need to look at, very, very important too. Of course, the point you raised earlier, very valid. Nigeria's reward system really, truly needs to be looked at. But let's talk about revenue allocation. There are plans by Ramfac to also review that. Currently, the federal government gets 52.68%, while states get 26.72%, and local governments get 20.60%. And the fundamental question is, how do you explain a situation where the federal government that's at the center, that is far from the grassroots, actually gets a huge chunk? I mean, if you combine the state and local government's figures together, it's still not up to what the federal government gets. Is this even justifiable? What do you think about this current revenue sharing formula?
The current salaries of Nigerian politicians serving in government has been described as inadequate and not in line.
Yeah, honestly, thank you very much. Honestly, when I read through that press briefing, I said this chairman shouldn't even have bothered about talking about salaries for political office holders. He should have just concentrated on this issue of fiscal federalism, the sharing formula. Because, I mean, if we are really serious about federalism in Nigeria, we should know that power flows from the bottom up. Legitimacy flows from the bottom up. So there should be more, for me, there should be more money thrown to the local government, not even the states. Most people are agitating that the states will get more. No, for me, the local government, we should take so much of that, over 50% going to the federal government. For what? This money should be removed and sent down to the local government levels. What we just need to ensure is that these monies are used judiciously. If we can guarantee an administrative structure that can checkmate unethical practices. I don't understand. I don't see why we cannot, shelve some of these excess funds that is causing so much corruption at the federal level, bring it down to the local government levels, and then ensure that actually those monies are actually used for the public, for public good. It's unfortunate that we are not thinking about that. Sometimes I look at the Nigerian situation, and in fact, I'm tired of getting angry. Nowadays, I just laugh because of the caricature and the mockery of everything we do here. Look at that, 52% for the federal government. Why? For me, it is the federal government that should be getting about 20%, while the local government should not get nothing less than 30%. The states around that same 2025. The federal government should get at least the least of the three components. That's my position, actually.
Okay, all right. Professor Ungu, we know that with the new tax laws coming into place from the beginning of next year, the federal government will be getting less when it comes to revenue sharing in the country, as they have now shared about 10% more to the state and local. But given the situation that Ramfak has highlighted, what do you make of it?
I think, and just in line with what Mr. Ejikoye said, I think the states needs to get more. In the sense that if you follow, this also goes to the issue of devolution of powers. Because if you look at the concentration of powers at the federal level, that is using the exclusive list of the federal government, has made it, that's one of the reasons why the federal government is getting a lot more. However, there has been, of course, if you remember that during Buhari's regime, he has also signed into law a lot of powers to the states, like railway, like electricity, and all that. So with more responsibility going to the states, it's expected then that more resources should also flow to them, and also, as he said, flow also to the local government. I was checking something, and they say India currently, is about 41% going to the states. They are now agitating and calling. They're also actually preparing the draft that this has to move from 41% to 50% in India. So that means to the 22 states we have in India. It also means that in Nigeria, given the fact that the federal government is in Abuja, and the states, as you rightly mentioned, relate more with the masses, their grassroots, and all that, they should have more responsibility to address issues that affect the masses, particularly issues of education, health, infrastructure, security, and agriculture. So if they're able to move more resources to states and local government, we can also say that the exclusive list also has to be trimmed down more. Let the federal government focus on areas that are common across the states, like foreign affairs, defense, monetary issues, and all that. Then leaving the key aspects in the exclusively to the states.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for doing justice to these issues. Professor Franklin Ungu is Director of Public Sector Initiative, Lagos Business School, is joined by Emeka Ejinkonye, a management consultant and public budgeting expert. Thank you for joining us tonight on Newsnight.
So, guys, you heard, what Tisipu said. Now, there's something that there's this point I want to bring out where the man said that, are these politicians even complaining of their salaries? Because they know that the salaries is more than enough. Their salary is more than enough. They're not complaining. So somebody said something here. Let's look at it. This person said, he said, the revenue mobilization and fiscal commission is our problem in this country. Can you imagine? This department is one of the problem in Nigeria, apart from INEC. How can politicians be packing millions every month, and then they're still this group department is still demanding for an increment in their salary? Is it that they are blind? They're not seeing that Nigerians are hungry? Is it that they're blind and seeing that people are starving? Can you imagine what is happening? What about these policemen? See, in this country, everybody needs increment, though. Everybody, both teachers, look at policemen, both soldiers that have been crying of, low salaries. What has happened? I know how many times even Showore has led the protest, complaining of low salaries, but still, they are still demanding for increment of salary. Can you imagine? Teachers, there are some teachers that earn 25,000 even till today, that earn 30, 50. What can this thing do for them? Nothing. This money is solid. Imagine politicians are packing millions of naira. They still want to increase their salary. This is to tell you the corruption going on in this country. They should pay everyone. Everyone needs to, if you want to increase their salary. In fact, the thing is that, okay, somebody said something. Let's look at it. This one said they shouldn't increase their salary, they should reduce it. So people will not be able to run that. Okay, I can't use that word because of YouTube rule, to embezzle our money anyhow. So guys, the thing is, the only thing these people have to do is to just increase, in fact, reduce their salary and increase. Policemen have been protesting, soldiers have been crying out because they're not paying them. I'll still play a video where a soldier was crying out because of he's hungry. Even people that are saying that they served for 35 years and then no money, no pension, low, they give them low pension. How can people serve all the days of their 35 years, guys, and then they give them 1 million as pension? What is 1 million? Can he acquire a plot of land? Can he start up a business in Nigeria? So you can see, I'm still going to play a video on that. Guys, stay tuned. Stay with me as we, break this headline, as I break this down so that you guys will understand. So now, this is not the first time Nigerian politicians have pushed for higher pay. Every 4 or 5 years, guys, every 4 or 5 years, there's always an attempt to review salaries upward for politicians, while workers and pensioners are left behind. Meanwhile, the National Minimum Wage Act has to pass through the endless negotiation, strikes, and threats before workers get any increase. Now, you guys know what happened when they were trying to enforce this new minimum wage. You know how people went for strike? You know how they negotiated with Tinubu? You know how, the threats from workers, from Labour Congress, before they had to even increase it to 70,000 naira, that is not even enough. This clearly shows the priorities of the ruling class themselves first, the people last, and they'll say that we are practicing democracy. Democracy is the government for the people. Politics is supposed to be about public service. If politics is not about public service, then that's not politics. But in Nigeria, it has become the quickest way to make money. They see, politics as the quickest way to make money. Now, in that video, somebody said something. If truly these politicians' salary are low, why are people, giving too much effort or putting too much effort to be governor, to be president? Their salary is more than enough for them. These politicians have luxury houses, have luxury cars. Money is not their problem. If you're talking about increment of salary, you have to come down to the poor masses. The 70, can you imagine? We actually cried for 200,000 naira minimum wage. They rejected it. Guys, 200,000. 200,000. That is not even enough. Yes, now, if you're in Nigeria, you should know that 200,000 naira is nothing in this country because of the naira devaluation. The only thing they granted was the 70,000 naira. What is 70,000 naira? What is 70,000 naira? So, like I said, once politics is not, when you don't involve the people, that's not politics. In Nigeria today, they see politics as the quickest way to make money. That is why everybody wants to be there. It has become the quickest way to be wealthy. Instead of serving the people, politicians see political office as a business venture with guaranteed profits, huge salaries, inflated allowances. Guys, do you know that it's not just the salary? Do you know they get the salaries different, and then they get cost of transportation and other things, which they add to their salary? That's to tell you that the money these people are packing home every month is so huge. And I believe that is why they don't want to release it, because I'm hearing that websites to assess what the government is doing, the revenue, and how much the government, the politicians are earning, the websites cannot be assessed for a year now. What does this tell you? Something fishy is going on. That is why elections are so violent and rigged. Now, the kind of money they have, that is why today in Nigeria they rig election, because they have the money. Now, I feel they deliberately, let me know what you think. Because the way these people are doing, how can you think of increasing millions for these politicians when people are saying that this 70,000 naira is not small for them? You're not even thinking. I know how many times police have protested. I know how many times soldiers have protested. I'll still play a video for you guys to see how policemen were crying. Even those that, the people that have retired are still protesting even till today, saying that they have not paid them pension, and some are complaining of low pension. Can you imagine? It is not just the poor that suffers. Nigerians middle class also suffers. People like teachers, Doctors, lawyers, engineers are also being destroyed. Many professionals now earn less than equivalent 200,000 in a month, while politicians pack thousands of dollars in allowances. This is why brain drain continues. Doctors, nurses, and skilled workers are leaving this country. All of them are running away, leaving the country. Yet politicians want to flatten their pocket instead of investing in the human capital that give revival to the nation. Now look at the countries like Rwanda, even Ghana, guys, just Ghana here. Oh. Ghana here. Look at, their presidents earn modest salaries compared to the size of their economy. We're talking about this country is drowning. But look at politicians are packing millions. Is that how it's supposed to be? Country like Rwanda, African countries, even Ghana, their presidents earn modest salaries compared to the size of their economy. Meanwhile, Nigerian lawmakers are among the highest paid in the world. Yet, Nigeria remains one of the most poorest nations on earth. This is the definition of injustice. Nigeria is drowning in debt. Over 90% of revenue goes into debt servicing. The government borrows to pay salaries and run basic functions. Yes, despite this, they want to raise their own salaries. How do you justify borrowing from China, the World Bank, and IMF just to pay political elites who contribute nothing to the productivity of this country? And it's not like, do you know the worst thing? There's nothing has changed ever since they became ministers, ever since they became president. So what is the money for? What's the increment for? Even people are saying, why are they even paying them at the end of the month? Because nothing has changed in this country. This is financial recklessness. The proposed hike is more than money. It is a symbol of how disconnected leaders are from the people. It shows they are living in bubbles, completely blind the hunger. They are trying to put it out that they are not seeing the hunger, the insecurity, hopelessness in the streets. When people come out to protest that they are hungry, you arrest them. Take a look at this, soldier complaining that, okay, you guys remember when they Tinubu actually awarded Super Eagles, yes, gave them, was it 150 million naira each, gave them a house, and then this man came out and was lamenting, saying, can you imagine? Take a look at this video. People they sent to war. Just imagine, take a look.
Wow. Nigeria, our country. It is fine. This video where they do I'm like this. And they do this video. And they dedicate this video from the seat of councillor down to the seat of president. This video na for una. In fact, to all our leaders. Now no see person just do work for 3 months. You don't even reach a month. It will be 3 months. Nigeria president is signing 160 million for each person. All the players, they are 24 if I am not mistaken. 160 million for each of them. And all the coach, they are collecting 80 million. 80 million. All the player, president give them 3-bedroom flats, each of them. And a Nigeria soldier, #1 security of this country, money where they pay him from the very day where the person go join army till 35 good years. That is when you have luck to serve the 35 years. Plus the one where they will pay you, say you don't retire, may you go rest. If you join them together, you know rich money, whether they give those gears where do work of 1 month. The money where they give each of them now, join them together, they throw off where they even win, you know richer. They say they make Nigeria proud. A soldier that have been suffered, die. Some of them no return, go their village with their hand. Some no go with their ears. Some no go with their two legs. Some no go with their spinal cord. Some died in the bush like animal, bed in the bush. Animal eat their flesh. They were nowhere to be found. Money where they pay them for salary. A private soldier that pass out today, money no reach 110. 110 that he no reach. Before they go even pay that money, all the stone and the wood, all of them go cry before the money go come. And person will just work for 1 month, they collect 160 million plus apartment. Wetin soldier do now? Wetin soldier do the country? But the whole die, when soldier they die. Some go join today, they don't even chop 1 month salary. To bury him as a hero, money no day to bury him. Some no even chop 2 months salary, money no day to bury him. A senator, they collect 29 million every month. Money where soldier work for 35 years, you no even reach money where senator they collect for 1 month. Those years now, they collect 160 million. Because they win the trophy, and the trophy no even reach wait till the gather give them. Plus the one where governors donate together. Well, the only thing when me at the thank God be say, nobody they bribe death. If death come, nobody they bribe her. Take this one, I bet no kill me. Take this one, I bet no kill my children. You know, if you don't come, you don't come. You never tell Buhari don't go. I want see person who go right and see as Buhari go there, now him be president for there. I want see the person who go right and come up read down. The way that they bring animal husbandry, Bobo history, Bobo for the country. See, if Abacha no fit carry this word, this country, go grave with them, go day for there, nobody go fit do them again. And as they talk this thing, one day God will climb horse, enter Jerusalem. That's the way that they sing Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna for freedom, happiness and joy. God will command Israel from the hand of Egypt that time. That the same God will locate Nigeria one day where military go come out from civilian hand, where joy go day. One day, God will use one civilian for there, he go still use them for Nigeria, when Nigeria will see better. House where soldier they sleep for barrack, even a senator dog will not go fit enter that room. Well, I say thank God. Buhari don't do it, he don't go. Abacha do it, he don't go. Well, I thank God. The thing why soldier do now go talk. Because God they have where you know they sleep. That God where you know they sleep every night and day they see him. And that is him God go fight for soldier one day, especially other rank. The kind God where use other rank for another country, you go use one other rank for this country. And by the special grace of God, it will come to pass. See the time where they do this video, 2:52 a.m. Now they do this video. So today, now 30th July 2025. Now they do this video. So please, anybody who see this video, help me to share them, they carry them, they go. God will fight for one country where other rank go there. That the same God, he go fight for this country. One other rank go commot this country. Where would they so? He go commot them the way God used Moses commot Israel from Egypt hand. God go use one other rank commot this very country from pains, from tears, sorrow, everything. What would they pass through? And I just they do on our own. That God they watch. like as I talk am.
Wallahi, Tinubu, you get mind, oh. You get mind. See where men they face. See where men they face. You get mind, they pay footballer almost 100 and something million. See where man they sleep. See where person they sleep. Ha, Tinubu, why they do like this? See na person room be this, oh. See. This one alive be this. Eh? I mean, how you want me to just stay to survive with 100k, 103? You don't even get mind to even to say you go increase for army salary. We maybe say private soldier may even collect like 200k. Last corporal in the job, you know, if you collect like 250, 300, except you thought say then get one of areas where person go get it in. See. Come on, do Warika. See, yes, we are this thing. Which can lie with you? It's in my bag. Which can lie? This one alive. See, a soldier house with you. So how many I want you to show? Say how many I want you to show now? I be when they pay money. When they pay money now, officers they chop on me. I don't believe this thing. I believe so when I don't pay. But anytime we wanna approve, everything they for all those senators, presidents, it they wanna hand. If no one help, when I go help us, I swear. See where person they stay. See bush with the face. You see where soldiers they stay. This can't lie with this one. But when I consider human being, a person will be, I swear. A person picking will be, if I talk now, they will say, who send me, say, I go join soldiers. See, if they pay the salary, and me and you go help, and me and you go chop the money. You know, be so. How much in the pay us where you go think, say, yes, mostly they come on inside. If I tell you, now we they sacrifice ourselves for Nigeria, now we no still know this stinging. Because as for me, I the zero mind, they come on money, they give person. Upon, see, no be saying stinginess, based on how they pay us, and so with you, with the remit outside, do. No be so. Ha, oh boy, Tinubu, you know try, Allah, you know try.
So, guys, you can see that everybody in this country need increment. See, apart from just keep politicians aside because the money they are getting is too much, and we should even consider to even reduce it because of the hunger going on in this country. The money they are collecting every month, I just heard that soldier say 29 million for a senator. Wow, people are hungry, and we are crying for 200,000 naira minimum wage. They rejected. Guys, come on, 200,000 naira. You can see the wickedness in this country. Did I just hear that man say 29 million for a senator every month? This is too much. This is too much. Imagine how many senators and ministers we have there, even governors in this country. Imagine how much these people spend in salary. But look at how the masses are suffering. You can see even teachers. See, everybody needs increments, so they should just leave politicians aside. Imagine what's the name of this department again? What's their name again? The Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission. And they should be thinking of increasing salaries for teachers, for soldiers, for government workers, and also workers in this country. Even if you're sales girls, or even if they need to increase salary. Teachers, are suffering. Both retired ones, the policemen, they are suffering. You can't buy. Tell me what you can use 70,000 naira to do in this country. Tell me what you can use. You can't even afford to eat properly. You can't eat a proper meal. Some people don't even eat at all. Some only eat once in a day. Some people eat once in a day. That is why you see doctors, they know what they are doing. Doctors that know what they are doing. They are professional doctors are not in this country. They travel outside the country because they cannot be wasting their profession here in this country and then earn peanuts. Then it's not the ones that don't know what they are doing that is here. Can you imagine? Imagine Nigerian soldiers, that fight Boko Haram, even teachers, every time they are coming to school, even police officers. That is why you see, do you have to even blame these police officers when they actually collect 50 naira from drivers? Will you even blame them? That's another side we need to talk. Because, guys, the corruption in this country is actually increasing crimes. The corruption in this country is increasing crime. We're talking about there's no job, and a senator is still sitting in that Aso Rock. There is no job. There's no infrastructure, there's nothing. You're just sitting down collecting salary every month, and you still have the guts to talk about increment. Does it even make sense at all? That is just it. Imagine the RMAFC is arguing that basic salaries for office holders are inadequate, guys. They are saying that salaries for office holders are inadequate because they have not been reviewed since 2008. That is what they are saying. They have not been reviewed since 2008. But when they deliberately hide is that the basic salary is not just a fraction of what politicians earn. Now, let me now tell you guys that the real money is in allowance and perks, hardship allowance, furniture allowance, wardrobe allowance. See, let me tell you, I think they should just total everything and show the world their basic salary. Because what they do now is they will show the basic salary and then they will now show hardship allowance, furniture allowance, wardrobe allowance. Imagine they even have basic salary, they also have all these little all these ones, and these ones are not little money. All these wardrobe allowance, medical allowance, these ones are millions on their own. You see how much they are packing, guys. Even for foreign trip, guys, in many cases allowance are 10 to 15 times bigger than the official salary. I'll repeat myself. In many cases in Nigeria, allowances for these politicians are 10 to 15 times bigger than the main salary. You can see how much they are packing, guys. Even if salaries were stagnant since 2008, have ordinary Nigerians not been worse off? Eh? Even if they have been paying them that same amount since 2008, imagine what these people are saying. What is that their name? RUMAFC. They are saying that their salary has been stagnant since 2008 and it has been inadequate. So if their salary has been inadequate, have ordinary Nigerians not been worse off? Minimum wage went from 18,000 naira to 30,000 naira, then to 70,000 naira. But inflation and devaluation has destroyed its value. Today, that 70,000 naira is barely enough for food in a 1 week for a family. So how do you expect families to survive to the ending of the month? You can see that people will go out here borrow for yourself to be satisfied. You have to be doing 5 works to feed your family. How will you pay your rent? Landlords in Nigeria, they are not even smiling because then they are suffering as well. They need their money. Today, that 70,000 naira is barely enough for food in a week for a family or 5. Is it even, we're talking about food? We're just concentrating about food. What about house rent? What about school fees? What about all these little ones you have to have in case of emergency? Transportation. What about transportation? Yet nobody is reviewing workers' pay with the same urgency that they give to politicians. Can you imagine? No single senator, minister, or governor has stood up to say, don't increase our salary, increase workers' wage instead. Can you see? Somebody said something. They said, this person said, when you all voted thieves and 419s into office, what do you expect? Honestly, sure you know that in this country that vote doesn't count. And then you all know that okay, these are the people we have in politician. Then that is to tell you that these are the kind of people we have in politician. No, none of the governor, none of them, none of even senators can even say, please don't increase our salary, at least increase the masses salary, increase wages. None of them can stand up to say it. What kind of people do we have in that seat? What kind of politicians do we have in Nigeria? Imagine what is going on. People are criticized, people are suffering, they are seeing how people are suffering, but none of these government officials, none of these politicians, no single senator, no single minister, no single governor has stood up to say, don't increase our salaries, increase workers' wages. Do you know that we've actually seen reports of these politicians loot money? Even after their salaries, they still go and loot. Even after the huge amount they pay them, they still go and loot. None of them can say, don't increase our salary, increase workers and wages instead. Their silence shows that they are comfortable with the proposal because they stand to benefit from it. Meanwhile, labor unions, civil society, and ordinary Nigerians are shouting. No, they are saying no, but the politicians keep quiet. If politicians are not the ones complaining, then clearly the salary hike is not about fairness, but about greed. It is simply a ploy to legally increase their take-home pay in the middle of a cost of living crisis. Now, is this how Nigeria will work out? and they are even planning to increase. I don't even. It will take effect, I think, next year, January, with the continuous increase of tax or VAT. Every time they are increasing VAT, but still look at that means it's favoring politicians now. It's not even favoring people that are paying for it. This is what we see in this country. Nigerians rank and police officers. Imagine police officers, they earn peanuts compared to the risks they face. A constant, they reportedly constantly they have come out to report, saying that 70,000 naira is not enough for them. Yet you can see even what they face on the road. That is why you see protests and outcry from the police themselves, with some officers saying they can't even feed their families, not to mention rent or school fees. The irony is that the same government refusing to meaningfully review police salaries now rushing to raise politicians' pay. Even Nigerian soldiers that fight Boko Haram, ISWAP bandits have long complained of poor welfare. Imagine a hungry soldier. This is why you see some soldiers saying they're tired of fighting. How can you expect, then after fighting these people, there's nothing for them. Rather than reward, but they're not even talking about reward, they're talking about pay them first. Pay them first. They don't even reward them, they don't pay them well. So what's the essence of fighting for this country, Nigeria? Can you imagine? Many widows of fallen soldiers openly lament that their husband died in service, only for the family to be abandoned. Some, so they leave families to bury soldiers that died in the process. Some military families live in poverty. Just like you heard that soldier say that there are some, even dogs, the barracks, some of the barracks, dogs, senators' dog cannot even live there. Even dog, these pets, or these senators' pets, if you see their house, that's to tell you that these people are wealthy. If the government really believes in fairness, police and military salaries should be the first priority. That's one thing they don't know. If the government truly believes in fairness, police and military salaries should be the first priority. These are people keeping Nigeria from total collapse in the face of insecurity. Yet, when Aro MAFC reviewed salaries since 2008, they didn't touch security forces. No, they only focused on office holders. Nigerian workers went on strike. Let me tell you, I know how hard. At least I followed that one up very well. The Labour Congress. I know how many times they went on strike before they could accept 70,000 naira. I know the threats. I know the negotiation. Do you know how many times they negotiated with Tinubu before they could accept the 70,000 naira? Look, you can see that they don't even they waste long just to appoint 70,000 naira. But when it comes to politicians' increments or salary, they do it in a second. They do it in a second. Then after, you see the same politicians loot money. We're in trouble in this country. We're in serious trouble in this country. Serious one. Serious one. Nigerian workers went on strike before the 70,000 minimum wage was approved. Even at that, the government hasn't published a clear implementation plan across states. According to what I'm hearing, there are some states that are not still earning that 70,000 naira minimum wage. Meanwhile, political class didn't strike. They will not go on strike, because everything is sharp. They did not protest. They didn't even cry. No politicians has come out to say, our salary is poor, please increase it. No politician, no senator or minister has come out to say that our salary is poor, we need an increment. Just like that. You see, Aro MAFC, they will just increase their sharp. Do you know they're recommending a 114% salary hike, guys? I hope you heard me right. They are requesting or recommending 114% salary hike for this politician, meaning that they should increase their salary by 114%. It shows where the government's heart really is. Protecting politicians, abandoning workers and security forces. This soldier that said something. He said that, imagine soldiers where they work for 35 years. Even, do you know, oh my God, even normal workers, all these school teachers, security men, Nigerians are really suffering. I can't even. Nigerians are really, really suffering. It's actually devastating, guys. People that work hard from morning till night, sacrifice their time, even government workers. How much did they get at the ending of the month? How much is a bag of rice? How much is tomato? How much is oil? How much is beans? Everything is costly. Transportation is at high. How much is fuel? But this is the same government that promised change. Renewed hope. What are we seeing today? Now, this is the big question. Why is it easier to increase salaries for politicians who already enjoy luxury, but difficult to pay police and soldiers? Even other people, at least give them a decent wage. Good. What we are saying is at least pay us very, even if you add 50,000 naira on top, let's manage. I know it's not enough, but let's manage. We are crying for increment, but look at politicians that are earning. According to what this man said, he said senators are taking 29 million. What? That is too much. This exposes the injustice and corruption of priorities in Nigerians' governance. This is actually very bad. Nigerian teachers remain among teachers in this country remains among the underpaid professions in this country, despite being entrusted with shaping future leaders. Even some states, primary and secondary school teachers are earning as low as 30,000 naira to 50,000 naira. Guys, this is their salary for a month, both their transportation, there's nothing like allowance. But this government official, their basic salary is so much. Not to talk of the allowances they get, the wardrobe allowance, the inkanka. They even say that, according to what I'm hearing, the wardrobe allowance, the allowance they get is even 15 or 10 times more than the main salary. You can see why teachers till today they are still collecting 30,000 naira, 50,000 naira. Guys, transportation is so high now. The cost of transportation is very high. Imagine a teacher that is earning 30,000 naira or 50,000 naira or 70,000 naira. Oh, let's just use the normal minimum wage that they say they approved, the 70,000 naira. Imagine transport has eaten 50,000 naira. How much is remaining? There is trouble. That is why you see there is, imagine how much. Do you know? I asked myself, imagine how much politicians are packing home every month, but still, Nigeria is still poor. Doesn't even make sense. Nigeria is the most poorest country in the world. How can we expect quality education when the people training our children can't even afford decent housing and feeding? If you see how teachers, I don't want to even go over to that place. I don't even want to go. That is why you see our young doctors are even leaving the country. Some young doctors earn 200,000 naira monthly. How much is rent? How much is rent in your side? How much is your rent in Lagos, in Abuja? Different parts. How much is it? What can the minimum wage do for you? Can you even save? Is it even enough for your transport? Is it enough for your feeding? Why is it that this government cannot just do these things normal? Like, are we asking for much? Are we just asking for much? This is appalling, This is actually the things going on in this country. I'm tired. Like, are we even asking for much? Are we asking for millions? Just give us a moderate wage and we'll be happy. The fact that they are paying people 70,000 naira, young boys are going into Yahoo. Young boys are going into kidnapping. Right now in Nigeria, kidnapping is a legit business now. It's now a business in Nigeria because they are underpaid. Do you expect them to go and be earning? Is it enough for them? Do you know hunger is killing people in this country? You guys know that there are some families that have not eaten for weeks. Some people even have medical they have to they need to pay some fees in the hospital. The other time a man, I don't know if yes it happened in Nigeria, a man, people were actually blaming the man that took his wife to the hospital, his pregnant wife. The wife actually died because of 200k. The hospital refused to attend to her because of the man couldn't pay 200k. Guys, now people were actually telling the man that how can you is 9 months 9 days. Have you asked the man whether he has eaten or asked him if he even have good job? Where is the job in this country? Hey, do you know a banker, at least I know of a banker's salary. I know personally a banker's salary. You see bankers going home. I mean, the ones that went to school, oh, and because they are the ones that at least had degree and they served. You see them going home with 120. People that finish, what is 120? Transportation from the person's side to the bank is how much? When the person pay lights, electricity, lights bill, when the person pays so many things, how much is remaining? There's this man that actually chatted me up. He was like telling me what bankers are actually facing. That he has this banker friend, he has this a female friend, that every month, like before the month end, that the banker, she's a female, will text him to borrow money, to lend her money. Then at the ending of the month, she will pay back. That's to tell you that even before the month ends, people have already started borrowing money. That is the pattern. The man was like, the girl does it every time to tell you that this banker salary is useless. The girl does it every time. Once it is like the middle of the month, she will ask the man for money and the man will lend her money. At the end of the month, she will pay the man. This is how the girl has been surviving. Just to feed, just for transport and to feed, no saving, nothing. These are what people are facing in this country. We are begging for. You see, are we asking for millions? Just give us a moderate wage and we are fine. Politicians already have. Do you know there are some politicians that have free housing? Do you know? There are some politicians in this, if not all of them, have free housing, have free cars, travel allowances, security details, medical treatment abroad, wardrobe allowances. These lists are endless. But imagine teachers, police, doctors, civil servants don't get any of that. Their salary is their only lifeline. Their 70,000 naira is their only lifeline. They use it to pay for medical bill. They use it for transportation. They use it to feed. They use it to God. Where do we run to in this country? That is where you see people that are that wants to follow illegal routes just to leave the country. This is what Nigerians face. But today, with all the hunger, with all the insecurity, this same Nigeria is planning to increase wages for politicians, already packing millions of naira every month. So guys, let me know your thoughts under the comment section. Drop a comment below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like and share this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.